that might have crossed the secretary's desk while she was the nation's top diplomat. And now, a former top intelligence official under President Obama is saying Clinton needs to step down and stop running for president until the FBI clears her. Joining me now is that top intelligence official, former director of the Defense Intelligence Agency under President Obama, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. Retired, sir. Good to see you again.
Thanks.
Before I ask you about your call for her to step aside for a second, it's been reported that you're advising Donald Trump. Is that true?
I am advising any candidate that has asked me for advice on a range of issues, national security, foreign policy, but he is one of the candidates that I have advised. But all the others that I have spoken to, you know, I basically let them know I'm open to providing advice to anybody that asks.
But theoretically, if Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton called you and said they wanted to talk to you?
Absolutely. If it has to do with the areas that I feel very strongly about and I feel I'm an expert in, I would absolutely offer my advice.
Now, we don't know what the FBI is going to turn up or the State Department in their investigation. We don't know what the conclusion is going to be. Why call for Hillary Clinton to step out of the race for the time being?
Yeah, you know, I feel very strongly about this. Number one, and there's really two reasons why I believe this. Number one, the severity of the leaks of the classified materials, so this special access program, the top secret, just the incredible level of classification that has been leaked through the use of a private server.
What do you mean by leaked? You mean like
leaked in terms of just being passed on
okay.
a
You don't mean like getting out to the public, but you mean
it's in the public now. It's in the public domain now because it was on a private server that's available to China, Russia, and now what we're seeing in the open domain. So that's severity.
Just to clarify, you don't have any evidence that the Chinese or the Russians hacked her server.
No, but we know the kinds of targets that they go after on a routine basis, and you know, I could give you an hour's worth of targets that we know that they've already hit that have been very publicly discussed. So, I mean, from the Joint Staff to Central Command to the Army, I mean, they've hit a bunch of these things. So Hillary Clinton, as a Secretary of State, is a target of those two adversaries.
But no evidence yet.
So, and then the other point, Jake, is, and the other thing I think that this is really important, it's been stated that there are 100 FBI agents that are on this case. And yet we have the FBI director that has told us that in all 50 states, we have Islamic State cases ongoing. And I know the FBI is just overwhelmed with white-collar crime, child pornography cases, transnational organized criminal cases, as well as the Islamic State. And now we have to put another 100 agents on this case of Hillary Clinton.
But isn't that a question of the FBI's priorities more than it is?
Yeah, so I mean, imagine that. So if she were to step down and the nation would allow itself to back down a little bit and let this investigation run its course with her not in the limelight and making this such a big deal, I really do believe that the severity and the number of resources that are applied, despite what the outcome is, I just think the lack of accountability, frankly, and a person who should have been much more responsible in her actions as the Secretary of State of the United States of America. This is not.
Right, no, I get that.
Jake, if it were me, I would have been out the door and probably in jail.
She and her supporters say this is an issue of overclassification. These are things that that are classified now, but were not at the time. Or, and you know this, that there is part of this tug of war over, for instance, if I were an intelligence official and I were to email a WikiLeaks that was published in the New York Times. That is top secret, even if it was in the New York Times.
Overclassification or not. If it's classified, it's classified. And she knows better. She knew better in the roles that she has had, both as a senator, even back when she's married to the President of the United States, and she's going to have privileged information in that regard, and not only as the Secretary of State, which is part of the National Security Council, so she should know better. This overclassification excuse is not an excuse. If it's classified, it's classified.
Right. You said in your interview with the Daily Caller that Clinton or someone working for Clinton transferred a, quote, special access program document off a classified server. Now, our understanding is that the classified and unclassified computer systems are completely separate, that you could theoretically take information off the classified server and pass it on, but not the actual document itself. Do you have any evidence that someone actually took something off the classified server and sent it on the unclassified one?
Yeah, only from what I've seen in the news reporting about this particular case. But the issue is if you are going to have SAP or Special Access Program material on a private, on your BlackBerry or your iPhone, somebody has to physically take that information off of a highly classified system physically and put it onto that unclassified, public device.
But you don't have evidence that
no,
happened.
I don't have any personal evidence, but it's obvious from the IG of the national intelligence community, as well as some of the other very senior people that have reported about this in government.